Okay. And we're almost ready to go.
Let me put my recorder in the room.
Okay. I am set up.
Bada bam, bada boom. Okay, let me pull up my run of show. Hello, everybody. Uh, Slow pulling it up. Is there anybody new who's never been here before? Just curious. Speak up in chat if you're brand new so we can sing you the welcome song. No, we don't sing a song. We could. Share. Yes. Audio. Pulling up my sound bank.
Uh-huh. There we go. You ready?
I am ready. Are you ready?
All right. Yes, I
Oh,
am.
okay. Well, hey, welcome to the Lifewriting Podcast. We're married authors and screenwriter Stephen Barnes.
And Tanana Reeve do talk about writing during stressful times, breaking into Hollywood, and balancing life.
Every episode will share more tips on how to build a better life while you create your dream projects.
Even if it's only at the rate of one sentence a day. Life writing is the application of the tools of writing to life and the tools of life to your writing.
All right, and welcome to Long Living Man. As a newish member, instead of a welcome song, you get resounding applause.
There you go.
So it's good to see people here. Happy Friday. Is it Juneteenth today or tomorrow? Anyway, I'm just claiming the whole week is Juneteenth.
There you go.
Happy Juneteenth. We sound like NPR broadcasters, honey,
Are we being extremely mellow?
here on the Life Writing Podcast.
And let me read another page from Ruby Fruit Jungle. Oh, never
Soothing
mind.
sounds to put you to sleep.
Yeah, I used to have an NPR show. Hour 25.
Use our NPR voices.
Yes, use my NPR voice. So, um, there's something very specific that I have to talk about today, but I think we can wait until after we do our, you know,
Our,
you know,
what's
what's
going
going on?
on? Hey, the second verse was about to play, but we don't get into that.
Yeah,
So, Steve, we're being told that your mic is a little quiet, so perhaps you could
my mic
either
is a little quiet.
sit closer to the laptop or I don't
Okay,
know.
well, I was speaking quietly.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, and I will
So,
speak up.
I'll tell you what's going on with me.
Yes, please do.
And hopefully, many of you are already on my mailing list at tananarievelist.com. And if so, you got the replay link to a really awesome part book talk, part community town hall that we had about my novel, The Reformatory, on Wednesday night. If anybody was there, Ashley C. Ford, the author of Somebody's Daughter, was in conversation with me. And I also brought in a director and activist, Melody Cooper. I really did not know she was such an activist. I thought she was mostly an online activist, but she was a boots on the street in Minneapolis activist. Hats off. I have so much respect for people who put themselves in harm's way and the protection of others. So, yeah, that was great. And two, There was a survivor from the Dozier School for Boys who showed up and was in the chat, and also the daughter of a survivor of the Dozier School for Boys. And what's really ironic about the both of them being there contributing in chat is that I actually talked to both of them on the very same day when I was on book tour. I talked to the woman and her 80-year-old father in the morning, and that totally shook me up because he was 80 years old and still very deep in his trauma from having been at the Dozier School for Boys in 1950. And then, as I'm just recovering from that, in the evening, I met the other survivor who was there in the 90s. So there was a black man from 1950 and a white man from the 1990s, both of them still completely traumatized from the experience that I met in the same day. And it was a lot. And it was so happy. I was so happy to see both of them at the talk. And I told him about the imposter syndrome I had when I was working on the reformatory. How was it my right to tell this story when I wasn't there? But he told me in an Instagram message it was not only my right, but my responsibility. And I basically knocked it out of the park. And in fact, relieved him of feeling like he had the burden of telling the story. So that was really good. And I think the takeaways for the audience were just, there are forces that would love us to feel helpless. That's just the absolute truth. Because when people feel helpless, you can roll all over them. And the lesson I learned from my late mother, Patricia Stevens Dew, in the civil rights era, is that there was a place for everybody. I mean, like me, not everybody wanted to march. Not everybody, uh, frankly, was courageous enough to face the potential of tear gas or arrest or assault by police. But there were all kinds of roles. You could run off copies, which is today's equivalent of social media. You could give money to bail funds, which is something that I do. So even I tell people, even if it's a school, a PTA, schools are a real battleground right now in terms of not only ICE raids, but banned books. So there are a lot of roles that we can take in big and small ways. And I just wanted to do that event on Wednesday to help people see the relationship between the feelings that get inspired on the page in a book of fiction set in 1950 and to see the parallels of things that are happening in 2026 and to draw lessons from the characters, some of them doing big things, probably are not going to be breaking people out of jail, probably. But yeah, you know, I'm, I'm not telling you what not to do. I'm just saying probably won't be doing that. But there are a lot of other things people can do short of that to make a difference. And that's it for me. And then really quickly, honey, I having that behind me and having a fairly significant meeting that we had, you might want to talk a little bit about that. I don't know. We signed an NDA, one of those meetings behind me. I guess I just felt freed to write. So I got writing done both on a short story and on my novel. And I'm gonna give myself a little applause for that because that was a great day. And more than a sentence even. Ha ha. Okay, honey, you're up.
Well, let me kind of run back and forth through what you said first. More than a sentence. Sentence is your minimum. Where do you want to be in a year? I know she wants to have her book finished in a year. We'd also like to have our be directing our movie. Um, and so if you look at what she's doing, then you can look at what she did to connect with the community, which also allowed her to promote her book. She said, it's more than just a sentence, but a sentence is where it starts. If the idea is, if you have these big dreams, these big hopes, the forces of evil, including your ego in that sense, when your ego functions in a negative way, which it will to limit you, um, will try to say that change requires too much, that small changes don't matter. From another perspective, from the perspective of life, all there is small change. That's all there is. Every day there's another tiny little change. That's all we want you to focus on. And I don't want to talk directly about anything that we're not allowed to direct on, but I will say that I've been musing recently. Let me talk about this week. So there are two books that I want to do in the next year, and there's a movie I want to direct. There's some physical things I want to accomplish. I have to finish making my change to another level of program, of my training program, that does not demand that I have my teacher always available to me, because my teacher is stretched really thin right now, and I do not want to be somebody tugging at him saying, please pay attention to me. Um, it, it, the question that we talked about, that I sent out over the emails, relates to the pause. That we don't have reactions based on what is happening. We have reactions based on the way we interpret what is happening, the story that we tell about what is happening. And this is why writing and creativity is so important, because every time a writer takes the stuff of their lives, the things that she, for instance, looking at Tananari, extraordinarily committed to providing a voice for her family, a voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. As a result of this, she has found a tribe of people who appreciate what it is she is doing, who consider that it is not just her right to do these things, but it is her responsibility, because she considers it to be a gift and considers it to be a blessing to be able to do these things. They can sense that she's not doing this to manipulate people. She's not doing this, to market herself. She's doing it because she feels that passion. If you connect that to the first step in Think and Grow Rich, it's having a passion to do something. And the chief executive at a company that we might, fingers crossed, be working with, it looks like we are in alignment to do that to a degree. He was commenting to us that most of the people who come to him want to get their name on the door. They want the producing credit. They want the directing credit. They want the money. They want the fame. What they don't want is to tell a story that will change the world. That one of the things about Tananarive is that she is very, very well integrated as a human being and as an artist. That what she desires to do with her life is the same as what supports her, because she is serving a tribe at the same time that she is serving the little girl she used to be. If you can see how these things line up, then all you have to do is every day just aim at, how can I get 1% better at this? How can I get 1% better than this week? You can do that just by acknowledging that you want to have that alignment between what you are and what you see the world as being. That it demands that you take a pause. You don't react directly to what is happening. You stop, take a breath, and you think about it. What's going on here? What's happening? If you're in a situation where you have to react instantly, that's a particular type of stress reaction that can happen when you're on the freeway and you enter into that game kind of saying, there will be things that happen here that I will not have time to think about. I merely must be. At those moments, you discover who you are. The moments where you have to act without thinking about it, that's when you discover who you are. When you think about it, that's when you get to make a decision to align your behaviors more with who you want to be. And that's the real value of a goal, is to say, what kind of person do I need to be to get this goal, to write these 2 books, to direct this movie, to do these other things? What kind of person can do these things, and what would that person do today? In looking at these things over the last week, one of the people I come back to is looking at Tananari. Okay, I'm kind of close here. How do I take a step back and see what she is from a different perspective? I can look at the Ray Bradburys, at the Harlan Ellisons, and Octavia Butler. Octavia was an extraordinarily driven writer. And in some ways, I was close enough to be able, it's like being backstage watching David Copperfield perform, that if you're in the audience, all you see is the magic. If you're backstage, you get to see the technology that created the magic, but you can also sense the practice, the showmanship. Somebody who's completely in love with magic and probably has been since he was a little boy. And Octavia, completely in love with storytelling. Tananarive, in love with storytelling since she was was it 4 years old that she wrote
Four
William
years
Baldwin?
old, yes.
Yeah. So it's following that path. When we talk about the pause, in some ways the pause And I'm asking you to consider this. I'm not absolutely sure it's true. I'm still in the middle of these particular thoughts. So I can't swear to them. I haven't experimented with them enough. But the pause seems to be very similar to what you would observe during the pause. A change has taken place. You have a picture in your head of the way things are supposed to be, and something happens. If it matches the way you think it's supposed to be, you're going to be very relaxed. Hey, great. Unless it's you expected something bad to happen, in which case you're afraid. Um, but you're looking at the change that is constantly happening in life. And Octavia kind of started her, the earth. I think that she started her writing because she wanted to tell stories that she didn't see being told. In the stories she wanted to tell were stories that were working out her questions of why is the world the way that it is? What's going on that we see these manifestations, that we see these changes, these things happening? What is wrong? Is there a problem in the way we look at gender, male and female? Is there a problem in the way we look at race, black and white? Is there a problem in the way we look at rich and poor, hierarchicalism and social hierarchy? These were the things that ran as background noise in her writing, that she was obsessed with, it she returned to over and over again, that she was too smart to take the easy answers. So she would, for instance, study biology. She would take a trip up the Amazon to observe animals so that she could kind of try to keep getting the sense of why are we like this? And I think that the last book she wrote toward the end of her life was her attempts to, this is as close as she could come to figuring it out. And that thing that she said that, that all that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. God is change. She was trying to come to grips with this stuff here. And only she would know whether or not she felt like she had reached the end of that process, but I rather suspect that she was much too smart to think that anything you can put into words is ever the end of a description of reality. You can't describe reality well enough to actually represent it any more than you can describe water enough to quench your thirst. What what these teachings are for is not to give you the reality. It's so that you will recognize the reality when you experience it. It's like if I describe water to you and tell you why you need it and how you can find it, you have a much better chance of going out and finding water and satisfying what your body wants. So the Zen Roshi cannot tell you what is, but they can point you toward the moments at which you are perceiving what is with greater effectiveness. It's like not that, not that, that, not that, not that, not that, that. Every time they say that, you keep saying, well, what are they pointing at? And ultimately, it's something that can't quite be put into words. But trying to figure out what Octavia is trying to say led me to something today, and I wanted to share it with you guys and put it up on the screen. Continue, and it's going to be right here. Okay. The concept of num is from the Kalahari hunter-gatherers, the Khoisan hunter-gatherers in Africa, and it's the idea of one soul looking out through many eyes. And for me today, that connected with these other things. It's that all are one. What's being said here? What's being said? And I wrote this. Num breathes through every eye, male and female, one soul seeing. Life defines itself to persist, to propagate. The child is the mirror of our purpose. Teach them to live, to love, to grow old, to birth their own, and to die willingly, that the cycle may turn forever. All else is selfishness, and selfishness is the enemy of the child, and the enemy of the child is evil, and evil is the death of beauty. We are the watchers of the wall. We are the bearers of the womb. We are numb, looking out through many eyes, and we choose the continuation of life. This is just something that I was thinking today that I thought that I'd share with you. I never know exactly what we're going to say here, but I think that if we talk about what we're doing in our lives and the way we're trying to address them with the highest level of integrity that we can, then we're giving you the best that we can. Tananari, is there anything you wanted to say before we kind of open things to people?
No, that was really lovely. I don't actually think so. I'm very happy that I'm finishing up my grading, I'll tell you that, but that has nothing to do with what you were talking about.
It's okay. Um, so we might find other things that we want to go into, but let's open the floor and allow our beautiful people to
Yeah.
comment to us. I would love to hear where you want to be in a year, 2 weeks, today, what you did this morning, how that's all fitting together for you, or we can talk about wider concerns. But we're here for you, and we would love for you to either share with us, ask questions of us, or teach us. So, who's first? Bum, 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 bum. Volunteer. Who is long living man?
Newish, he says.
Can you unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello. Who am I speaking with?
This is Dan Poor. I'm trying
Da-
to turn on my screen here. So,
Oh, we would love to see you.
Well, welcome anyway. Welcome to the Newish.
thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys.
So, Dan, tell us a little about yourself and how we can serve you.
Oh, well, so let's see. Where do I begin? Um, Elevator speech, I guess. Um, Raised in the Northeast. Um, was a gifted athlete. Went on to be a D1 diver at Rutgers University. Got an offer to come to Florida. Turned professional. Uh, did that
Professional
in
diver?
professional high diver. Yeah.
Wow. Where would you work? Working like water shows? Where would you work?
Worked all over the world, primarily at SeaWorld in Orlando, where I was the feature high diver in the water ski show,
Wow.
and had a wonderful opportunity to train there. I competed in 5 World High Diving Championships, finished fourth in the world in 1982, and was on ABC Wide World of Sports. That was kind of my big coming
Well,
out.
here's something here that I just wanted to make a comment really quickly. If you've gotten that high in diving, master one thing, master 10,000 things. You already know how to be super excellent. So my guess is that you want to be super excellent at something different.
Well, I've had after that tide diving paid my way through college. I graduated from University of Central Florida with a degree in marketing and computer science, and worked for a couple of years for an agency, and then started my own IT company and grew that. Got married, had a couple of kids. Um, the short version, after a 20-year marriage, we got divorced. I sold the company. I moved to China and started high diving again in a circus, kind of returning to my roots and passion. And my grandson was born in '09, and I came home. Um, took care of my parents before they died. Eventually found out that my mom had an affair, and my father was an immigrant from Poland who I knew growing up as my mother's dancing partner. Reunited with him, helped him write his memoirs. He was a spy in World War II.
Wow.
Um,
Well, allow me to ask a question. When we start out, you've given me a lot of information about yourself.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but after about a minute, it, I, if we were sitting having coffee, I'd probably want to listen to you talk about this for an hour. But
right.
here, what can I do for you? What can we do for you?
Well, after I came back to Florida, after my mom passed away, I began driving for Uber and a couple other rideshare companies. And in the years that followed, as I told some of the same things I just told you, people always said to me, "Oh, you need to write a book. You've had a fascinating life. near-death experiences, um, coming, being born again back in the 80s and struggling with that. Um, I did a lot of cool things. So I began entertaining that possibility, always doubting myself. But I said, okay. And then so I ran into you many years ago, a decade ago, and thought, well, you can help me.
Okay, so let's take that piece of it and let's lay it out. No, you shouldn't write a book. You should write short stories, or you should write articles on the individual pieces of it. That's how you leverage the amount of time, energy, focus that you have at this moment. And every time you do that, you'll grow by about 10% until you can write a book. So that's what I would suggest. The path that we have that we can coach people along that always works is you write. It's a six-step process, and I repeat this quite often. One, you write at least one sentence every day. One sentence a day, and you're done for the day if necessary. But be sure that you do that. Okay. The second step is you write 1 to 4 short stories a month. So it might be articles, okay, where you want to talk about something in particular. And you keep them short enough that you can actually finish it in a month. The the third step is that you finish and submit at least one per month. So once again, this is forcing you to focus down until you've got a piece that's small enough for you to do in the time and energy that you have available, so that you are moving away from the excuses that say, I don't know what to do or I don't have the time to do it. It's really, you have to focus it down to, do you keep your word to yourself? Like I said, if you were one of the world's best at something, at anything, then the same level of focus applied to anything else will achieve fantastic things. The fourth step is that once you have started submitting it, you don't go back and rewrite it again. Unless an editor tells you specifically, if you'll rewrite this, I'd like to see it. At that point, you rewrite it. Otherwise, you learn more by moving on to the next piece than you would by rewriting the last one. The fifth step is that you read 10 times as much as you write. That means you read a minimum of 10 short stories per month, 10 articles per month. These need to be the kind of things that you want to write and about the same length as what you want to write, so that you are starting to absorb unconsciously what is this thing that you're doing. So you're both doing the thing and studying the thing, and you're also studying the marketing of the thing, because by reading you're actually learning, where are these things published, who publishes this stuff, books, magazines, websites, where is it? And the sixth step is you repeat this process 100 times. That if you say, okay, I'm going to write a story a week for 100 weeks, obviously it's going to be a very short story. But in 100 weeks, think about how much you're going to learn. You're going to learn a massive amount. The major thing that stops people is they try it 4 or 5 times, it doesn't work, and they think, well, that's it. If you write a story a week, in 2 years, you will have done 100. If you write a story a month, it takes, 10 years to write 100. You can do anything in between there. But a story a week for 2 years is about an AA degree. So it takes about the same amount of work to get an AA degree as it does to start selling your writing.
I want to jump in with a question.
Please do.
Oops, why don't I have my camera on? Okay. Hey, I might have missed something, but the last thing I heard you say was that you were feeling pressure to kind of write your life story. And I know that's a huge responsibility because, well, first of all, you've already helped your dad write a story, which is fantastic. It sounded like, right? If I heard that correctly. And I remember for years, my late mother wanted to write a civil rights memoir, which, trust me, was the last thing I wanted to write. I was a fiction writer. And it was a very daunting idea to write like this whole book. So what I started out with was an essay, which I think is along the lines of what Steve is talking about. I extracted a moment from her life and probably my life too, in some way. I don't remember actually the content of the essay, but it was short enough that we were able to publish that right away. It was, I mean, my mom had a big, long set of experiences, but by picking one moment out of that and then sort of having a quick intro leading up to it and maybe a little bit afterward in the conclusion, pointing toward what she did later, we had a self-contained essay that we actually published in a magazine. And I would like to think that that publication helped us actually find a publisher when we were ready with the longer book. And I suggested to my dad that he write his life story in a series of self-contained episodic essays. And that is something that both fulfills what Steve is talking about and hopefully would help you get your book done. Just wanted to throw that out there.
So,
Wow.
thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Now, long living man, Dan, um, is that useful to you?
Is that what?
Useful.
Well, it's one of my passions. I've been a personal trainer, corrective exercise coach, Olympic weightlifting coach. So I'm very interested and have been following a number of doctors on um, the idea of not only living longer, age expectancy has gone up in our country, although it's slowing down, but to instead of just um, longevity, but a more vital life longer, which has to do with a health span as opposed to lifespan. And what goes into that, how to take care of yourself emotionally, spiritually, and physically, of course. The country is in a war now against childhood obesity and diabetes and all kinds of maladies as a result of this market-driven economy, where money is put above uh, best goals of longevity. And so, anyway, that's where Long Living Man came in. It's just kind of one of my passions.
So the,
And
the, the question I asked and that I need answered is, are what the things that we said to you of use to you?
oh, absolutely. I wrote the whole 6-step strategy down, which I
Great.
can recite back to you. And
No,
I'm a,
I just want you to use them
yeah,
because
no,
if you've
that
got that, then your first step is to write an article. Do you want to write fiction or nonfiction?
non,
Okay, so your first step then would be writing an article on your thoughts on this issue that you feel passionately about, which is the difference between longevity and health span.
great. Yes,
Okay,
I love it.
so in a week you could do it. In a month, I want you absolutely to do it. If you will take responsibility for either of those things, we can coach you.
Well, I've gotten more already out of this short session than I've gotten out of almost anything in the past decade. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And it's very condensed. So if you need to unpack it, come back and please let us know what is going on, and we'll help you to unpack your process, okay?
Thank you. I
You're very
will.
welcome. All right, next, Christina Pitchford.
Hey, this is my first time here. I love
Can you put your
Tana
camera on?
Reeves.
We'd love to see you.
Sure, I'm not in my usual office space.
That's
I love
okay.
Tana
Welcome,
Reeves
welcome.
writing. Thank you. I'm a Florida girl too. You
Hey.
were amazing to find. I first discovered you through the Key West Literary Seminar for the Florida.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
tonight I'm going to
Yeah.
put you up there, so your face is now on the screen with Christina.
Yeah, and the I attended your talk. Was it yesterday or I guess it was
Wednesday. Time
the day
flies.
before. Yeah, right. That was super cool, especially with this week and with Juneteenth today.
That was our whole
Yeah,
plan. I didn't call it a Juneteenth event, but it absolutely was.
it was well done. My husband
Thank
and I
you.
watched and we felt just really, really privileged to have been watching. There was some magic going on, so that was really good. But
Thank you.
yeah, I got your link for today, and so I showed up to see what it was all about. And this is really awesome. I didn't quite get the 6 steps as they were a little slow to the punch to write those down, but
I'm going to try to put
yeah,
them into
like
chat while you're talking to Tananarive. I'm going to put them in
yeah,
chat.
that'd be good.
So
It's
are
good
you
to
a
break
writer?
down goals. I am. I'm recently have reclaimed myself as a writer after a life
Yes.
of taking care of other people. And it's good. I've been at it earnestly for about a year, and in the process of doing 30 submissions for June. I figured I
Oh,
would
wow.
rip off the band-aid because
Wow. You
submissions feel
said,
really
wait.
awkward.
You said 30?
Yeah, 30 stories. Like, well, 30 submissions, like
That
three
is
or four different stories.
that's okay. Okay. Fantastic. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it feels
Yes.
good. I definitely feel a lot less intimidated by the process. So that goal has been accomplished.
Good for you. Good for you.
Uh,
Well, you have to
Thanks.
absolutely join our social media site for writers, Life Writing on Circle, which we'll also put in chat. It's www.lifewrite.com, which is kind of an offshoot of this space, but it has more than 500 members.
Oh, very cool.
And it's calls for submissions, it's jokes, it's all about writing. That's really basically all we talk about, except maybe life improvement.
Well, look,
Yeah.
we talk about writing, writers, and reading. So it's for writers and readers. Okay,
Yes.
Yes.
that because the whole thought is that notion. What happens if you look at your life as an adventure that you're writing? Now,
Totally.
now, maybe you're writing an adventure about a writer who writes adventures, or maybe you're writing a story about a reader who lives their life but also loves reading. As long as you're familiar with story, you can use that
Yeah.
concept because then it gets like, well, so where are you on your journey? Are you being confronted with a challenge? Are you dealing with the fear of it? Are you accepting it but don't know what to do next? Are you starting to do the work, on the road of trials? Are you gathering the allies that you need to create a mastermind to lift your life to the next level? Are you learning new abilities or remembering abilities you used to have and bringing them here? Are you dealing with having fallen on your face and you just, where am I? Everything is falling apart. That dark night of the soul. Are you
Yeah.
looking to develop the faith that you need to move through the dark night of the soul? If you don't develop faith, what will happen is that you'll hit the dark night of the soul and bounce back. You'll go backwards to what
Yeah.
feels like it's safe, but there is no safety there. You'll just grow old without changing.
Yeah.
Octavius, life is change. Not everything
Yes.
that changes is alive, but everything that is alive changes. So you get to make the decision. Are you falling apart or are you putting your life together? Are you growing and changing? That the meaning of life being to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. So where are you in that process? That if you take that leap, then you will overcome the problem eventually, and you will move on to the next level in which you get to both inspire new people and face new
Yes.
challenges. Growing does not mean you have no challenges. It means that you arrive in your challenges in a better car. So it's you take Uber Black to your challenges. So every perspective on these things allows you to have slightly different leverage. Every
Yeah.
time you look at it, something new is revealed. And the trick is that the ant is sitting on the elephant. It cannot see the elephant. So
Mm,
it's you have to get above the elephant or off the elephant to see what an elephant is, but now you're not on the elephant anymore. This is the value of reading what other people say about their lives. That a man like Dan, who became one of the great divers in the world, after he retires from diving, his perspective on what it takes to be a diver is fantastic because he knows what it was to aspire, he knows what it was to do, he knows what it was to back away from. He sees the whole thing, whereas people who've never done it just see what it looks like from the outside. So Tananarive and I write every day. We live together every day. We deal with our bodies and our hearts and our minds every day. That mastery of the thing is not some frozen perfection. It's being engaged in the process of the thing. I'm on the path. I know where the path is. I see where the horizon is. I don't necessarily know what's over the horizon, but if you follow me, I can tell you where the path is, at which point you can teach yourself. What I'm looking for is not followers. I'm looking for companions on the path because it's lonely to follow any path that is legitimate. So
Yeah.
I hope that that's useful to you. And if you have a specific question, please ask.
No, it is very useful. I feel like I'm generally kind of adventuring in that direction, and I love that you're here just offering to help other people. I think that that's a really important part of the process that gets neglected or overlooked,
Yeah.
especially in
The
today's
student becomes
culture.
the teacher. What's the last step in the
Yeah,
hero's journey? The student becomes a teacher. You've learned when you can teach someone else. You have fire
100%.
when you can light somebody else's torch.
And as a matter of fact, community is so important in development as a
Yeah.
writer. You just,
Oh, yeah.
we're so
Absolutely.
solitary. And in
Okay.
Yeah.
fact, most of the time we feel like it's solitary by choice, right? A lot of us are introverts and our dream is a secluded cabin, with no one bothering us. But at the same time, there's so much to be learned from other writers, such as
Yeah.
dealing with the voices, when you're writing a draft and you feel like it sucks, and to know that everybody feels that way, even if you're
Yeah.
a long
Also,
published, well-established writer.
one of the
Octavia
first
Butler
steps.
struggled, Alex Haley
Yeah.
struggled, everybody
Still
struggles.
going through it.
Yes.
Absolutely. One of the most important steps in learning is to model the people who've already done it. And when someone has taught you, remember that part of what you're modeling was their urge to give back. That there's something about people who have done the thing that makes them often in love with giving away the way to do the thing. They're not going to do your work for you, but they'll tell you where to mine the gold. They'll even tell you where you can get gold smelted and the banks in which you can exchange gold for cash. But they're not going to do the digging for you, and you sure as hell ain't going to get none of their gold.
No.
But other people who dig gold, they love those people because those are the only people who can understand how crazy it is to wander off into the desert with a pack animal and a pick. Is other people who want to wander into the darkness with a pack animal and a pick. So don't try to steal their gold. Don't ask them for gold, but you can tell them where they found their map. You can they might tell you how they learned to recognize gold. They're not going to tell you where their secret mine is, but they'll tell you how to find your own secret mine. And that's what you really have
Yeah.
to do. And as soon as you do that, you are a brother or sister on the path. You're like
Yeah.
us. You're just trying to figure it out. And every Sunday, Father's Day, I take my mentor out for Father's Day brunch. And just because for the last close to 40 years, he's the one who saw me and said, "Not bad, kid. Why don't you try it this way?" And gave me a chance. But I'd done my work. I had to have done my own work, or he couldn't have even
Yeah.
seen me. He was born into a wealthy family. So you don't ask him for money, but he'll tell you how to make it. He loves talking about how to be a fantastic writer because that's what he created for himself. Okay? So we will help you to the limit of our capacity, and all we ask from you is that you escape suffering, embrace joy, and then one day seek to be of service to others. If you'll do that, you're
I
my
love
sister.
it. Oh,
Okay?
I'm right there with you. I love it. I'm so glad I
Sounds
showed up
fantastic.
today.
Yeah, come back as often as you can. No guilt attached to that. When you can, come here. We will be here for you. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Steve Marino.
Yeah, I'm off mute. Am I off mute?
Yes, you're off mute.
We
Very,
hear
very
ya
cool.
and we see ya.
Okay, sorry. Burned out today. Kind of a rough day.
Sorry.
What's rough about it?
if you don't
Well,
mind.
actually, about the past 5 days or so, my mother was walking to the hairdresser's about 3 blocks away from her condo, and she got to the hairdressers. She was having them do her nails, whatever, and then she just randomly passed out.
Hmm.
And she didn't find out until much later, but she was out for about 15, 17 minutes. The ambulances came, they picked her up, and she was, it was brain not working. Haven't had a lot of sleep in the past few days. What am I trying to think of the term for extreme arrhythmia? Not tachycardia, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Uh,
so what do you need to be the person who can support her at this moment in her life?
I, I think I've already been doing that. Here in this country, they don't like family members spending a lot of time in the hospital. She's back home today, but I went to the pharmacist. I started to say that I am tired. I went to
I
the
know. I used to
pharmacist.
do that all the time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Uh,
what can we do to
not,
support you then?
uh, Give me a chance to vent a little bit just because I need to blow some of the things that are rattling around in my head out of my head
Go
at the
right ahead.
moment because, yeah, so uh, just kind of by speaking it, I'm putting it into order in my head. So at any rate, I got her home. I'm hoping that she's asleep right now because it's later here than it is where you are. But I think she's okay for a moment. I think that there will be longer term health issues from what happened. I am honestly furious with the people that were doing triage at the hospital because the moment she came in with the symptoms that she was showing, they should have done uh, blood work. They should have looked for cardiac enzymes. They did not. They did not do an EKG on her, which they could have. It turns out that there wasn't the damage there could have been, but if it had been something slightly different than what it was, she could have had a much, much worse outcome. But they didn't follow the normal procedures, and that has me very, very angry. But yeah,
Well, the anger, of course, is fear because you love your mom
yeah,
and you're terrified of losing her and of failing her.
yeah.
So the most important thing you can do, first of all, you should write all this down.
Okay.
That you're very correct that when you express it, you're helping yourself organize it. Tananari, there's something you want to say or you wouldn't have
I agree.
got there.
And I feel this deeply because, my father is 91, has been in and out of the hospital. I have an aunt who's 87, who's also been in and out of the hospital and dealing with the bureaucracy and the doctors. Don't even get me started on the financial piece and how difficult it is to find aid for senior citizens who can't live on their own anymore. Um, and I don't know if you're a writer, Steve, but in addition to the sort of journaling aspect, which is just as my mother used to say, document, 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 because you don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not saying you're going to end up suing somebody, but it's good to keep records. It's good to keep
Hmm.
records, written records, sometimes scare people into action, even if you're not suing them,
Hmm.
if you should need that. But also maybe find a way to put it in the fiction, because one of the breakthroughs, if you write fiction, do you write fiction, Steve?
I write fiction right now. I'm in about the halfway point on a fairly major project. So I'm not starting anything new right at the moment for obvious reasons.
Well,
Mainly because I'm,
or you could
yeah.
be in a major project and you could there are plenty of writers who alternate major projects or alternate major and minor projects or do a major project and then pause and do a minor project. Right now, you've got something that is very deep on your mind. And if you decided that you wanted to write a short story dealing with those
Hmm.
emotions, it would not be, you'd return to that larger project refreshed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
So
getting
yeah.
sustenance and life from your larger project, I'm not going to try to tell you to move away from it, even though in life writing we do focus on short stories. But I do know for me personally, actually, both of my projects have the
Hmm.
bureaucracy of the medical system as kind of a monstrous force, at least in the background.
Hmm.
And I find it incredibly healing to sort of exaggerate that bureaucracy, make it more monstrous in the course of a story. It may be too close to the bone for you. Not everybody likes to write about the thing itself, but for me,
Right. And my
it's working.
family, uh, our businesses are all focused around the medical
Uh,
industry. So it's both interesting and at the same time, I have to be a little careful about what I say. So,
I understand. I
Yeah,
understand.
well, then the most important thing I can do to be sure of is to make the recommendation that
mhm.
you can best take care of yourself by being sure that stress does not become strain. Stress
Right,
does not hurt us. Stress is just the pressure. What hurts us is when we get more stress, more pressure than we can bear at that moment.
right,
And the fastest way of knowing that you can handle the pressure is when you can breathe smoothly through it. So if you set your alarm on your phone for 3 hours
hmm,
and then you do 60 seconds of deep, slow, diaphragmatic breathing once every 3 hours, you will be
hmm,
rewiring your body's reaction to stress. And therefore, you will be able to respond to anything that your mom needs more
hmm,
rapidly and clearly and effectively because you're not getting thrown off by your fear and your stress and your anger. It's like you see what is true, what needs to be done
right,
here. You'll be able to do it, and so that
hmm,
it's not denying your emotions. It's
hmm,
using your emotions to motivate you to become more effective and efficient at taking care of whatever the emotions are about. Your emotions are
hmm,
about fear for your mom. So she needs two things. She needs her son to be there,
hmm.
and she needs to know that you're okay.
Yeah,
She needs to know that she did her job as a mother. And part of her job as a mother is to prepare you to not need her. If she
yeah,
failed at that, she will die in misery. If
hmm,
she knows that her son loves her, is there for her, and you're going to be just fine, then she gets to focus on whatever it is she needs to do, heal
hmm,
or pass.
yeah.
Those are her options at this point in her life. Be the man she raised. It's as simple as that. You do that, and you are freeing her heart. She has fulfilled her function. Now she can focus on taking care of herself.
Fair enough. So, first of all, document what's going on, right? Second of all, use my watch, which reminds me once an hour to get up and walk anyway,
That's
but
fine. That's
to
fine.
remind
Yeah,
me to
I'd say
breathe
that's
and
first.
everything else.
That's
Yeah.
more important. That's the most important thing is take care of yourself because you are the tool that does these other things. If you take
Hmm.
care of yourself, then you swing the axe strong and true. if you
Right.
if you don't take care of that, you'll have a dull axe and you'll be chopping on the wrong tree.
Right. And I will admit to myself right now, I'm doing something really incredibly stupid, mainly because I'm very tired. And I don't usually do this, but caffeine, large
Uh,
quantities of caffeine.
I think we all love a little caffeine
I
at
could use some
times.
Yeah.
caffeine right
That's
now.
not a really stupid thing. It's a thing that you're doing to caffeine. Interesting difference between caffeine and cocaine.
Hmm.
Caffeine sensitizes you to the norepinephrine that is already in your body, in your brain.
Ah. Hmm.
Cocaine causes a dump of norepinephrine. Real difference.
Ah.
Real different. So caffeine sensitizes you. That's kind of okay.
Yeah.
As psychoactive nootropics go,
Mhm.
caffeine is almost universally appreciated and has a fairly low problem at regular levels of input. So don't guilt trip yourself about that. I'm kind
Yeah.
of sensing that you're
Sometimes
tired.
you want to dilate those blood vessels into the brain and everything else. Yeah. So good
That's
point.
Just
right.
be careful if you're on the East Coast and it's getting later.
There are
Um,
times that you need to push. And there are
I'm
other
in
times when
Portugal.
you need to relax, that
Hmm.
you need to be able to to shut off the yin side, the Tao, the male and the female in the
Hmm.
Tao. The male
Right.
part will try to push and push and push until it breaks. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be willing to let go and go into the female side, the yin
Mm-hmm.
side, in order to recover. It's the yin and the yang together that make the Tao, that make a human being.
Mm-hmm.
It's pushing and relaxing. It's it's
Yeah.
it's defending and then nurturing. Those things in whatever order it works, but taking care of your mother demands that you also take care of yourself. Demands it. If you don't, you will break. If you do
Yeah.
take care of yourself, then this watching your mother go through this is the last major gift she has to give you.
Mm-hmm.
If you deal with this in an awakened, aware way, it is both terrible and beautiful. It is
Mm-hmm.
life as it actually is. And I remember the last time I saw my dad. He, man, he looked like the crypt keeper. The cancer had just eaten him up. And I was thinking to myself, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? How do I deal with this? And I thought I could turn away. And part of my turning away is my sense of loss and my sense of fear. There
Mm-hmm.
too will go I. But I also thought life is jealous of you and will try to hold
Mm-hmm.
on to you. Death, on the other hand, knows that eventually you're coming. So death wants you to be the most interesting person you can be because you're going to spend eternity with death. So who are you really? Be interesting so we can have great coffee and crawlers. So if I could look at my dad in the context of his life and see that ending and let him know that I'm strong, I'm good. It's okay, Dad. You've done everything you need to
Mm-hmm.
do. Then my image of my dad can sit on my left shoulder, reminding me, memento mori,
Mm-hmm.
reminding this is what life actually is. It gives a sweetness to life. So the same thing that allows you to be strong and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of so that you can be of as much assistance to her as possible is the
Mm-hmm.
same thing as what it is that you need to do to prepare yourself and to nurture the world and to
Mm-hmm.
also be sure that your mother knows that she did her job, that
Mm-hmm.
she did her job. If you can give her that,
Mm-hmm.
you will have given her all a son can, and you have fulfilled that part of your function as an awake, aware human being. You're being an
Mm-hmm.
adult. And that's what all parents want. Can my children be adults in the world? Can they take my
Mm-hmm.
place in the line? And this, what you're doing right now, is your statement to her, yes, Mom, you did your job. I love you with my whole heart. Whatever you need to do now, you do that knowing that you and I are good.
Yeah, and part of that is in the process of going back to her apartment and getting the paperwork that she needed to take back to the hospital and everything else. I left her keys in a cab, and to a certain degree, she started treating me as being kind of an irresponsible person, and it kind of surprised her later on when it came through going through all of her medications and making sure they were all appropriate to the situation and uh, translating the doctor's notes from Portuguese into English and translating from the English back into Portuguese and doing all of those responsible things. There was a point where she forgot that I could do that. And she was kind of, okay, you're that ditzy little kid. No, I was distracted and left my keys. And I think she realized later on when I dealt with some more serious situations that, wait, no, I was, she saw me dealing with the pharmacist and then realized, oh, wait, he's dealing with the pharmacist on an equal basis and catching the mistakes that he was making and caught back on to, no, I'm not scatterbrained. I just always lose my keys.
Steve, she knows you have to forgive
Yeah.
yourself for leaving those keys
That's
behind. I
right.
mean, my
Yeah.
dad's
Well,
glasses got
first,
lost. I mean, when
yeah.
you're in the midst of these events, things do happen
Yeah.
like that. And she knows who you are.
Yeah.
So show her,
Hopefully she'll forgive me.
well, she loves you. That's what's important. You know, that
Yeah.
that in order Okay, I died last year, and
Yeah.
you know, my heart started back up again, and I can tell you that based upon my experiences there and what I have heard from others, which matches that, that what you're going to be thinking at the moment of death is whether or not you have acted in alignment with your values.
Hmm.
If you have, then you can let it go. If
Hmm.
you haven't, you'll need to forgive yourself. The trick with forgiving yourself is that in order to really forgive yourself, you have to forgive other people too.
Hmm.
That door of perception that life is just what it is and that we have to function within that, she more than forgives you. The problem would not be
Hmm.
forgiving you. The problem would
Hmm.
be, can she forgive herself? If she thinks there's something wrong with you, I can promise she's going to blame herself. So what you have to do is to show her that there's nothing for her to forgive. To be able to, say this is just, everybody makes mistakes. She knows that. You're
Hmm.
just a person. You're her son. She ain't perfect. You ain't perfect. Your son won't be perfect.
Right.
You Your job is to be present, to give her your presence, not your fear.
Hmm.
Your love, not your regret.
Yeah.
Okay? And so also
Hmm.
what you need to give yourself. You have to be able to forgive yourself that you're also doing absolutely the best you can do. She's
Hmm.
doing the best she can do. That's what everybody in the world is doing. And
Yeah.
to be able to acknowledge that people are doing their best, but simultaneously not let them take advantage of you, if their
Hmm.
best happens to be venal, is
Hmm.
a problem that an awful lot of people have. How do I go
Hmm.
high when other people are going low? By
Yeah.
remembering your perspective.
Mhm. Well, I mean, there is a homeless guy who hangs around the doors to my building, and I always make a point of a lot of people just turn away from him and don't see him, and I will never give him money, but I always offer him if he wants food, and more importantly, I think to myself, I always make sure to acknowledge him as a human being.
Yes.
But at the same time, that makes him react as in, okay, this guy might give me money versus this guy is treating me like a human being. And
And I would agree that that is a perfect choice. It's a
yeah.
perfect choice. What he needs to know is that he is still part of the body human. He has not fallen
Hmm.
off the edge of the world. If
Hmm.
you offer him food, you're offering him genuine sustenance. You're not offering him
Hmm.
a way to medicate himself if he would use it on
Right.
drugs or alcohol. You're saying, I care about you, but I'm not going to ally myself with the worst of you. I will ally
Hmm.
myself with the best of you. And
Right.
that's a lifeline. And that is
Hmm.
a good thing. Okay? Okay, Steve. Uh, I hope this has been useful to you, and I hope that you will come back and let us know how things are going.
I absolutely will. And thank you very much. This was very useful. Uh, just getting the chance to, first of all, you did give me very good advice. But secondly, just getting the chance to say it out loud means a lot more than what.
I have problems with that, uh, and I meant that sincerely. Uh, Sometimes people need hugs, and sometimes they need strategy.
Hmm.
Most of us usually need some of both, but
Yeah.
grasping the proportions of each, I can be tone deaf to that at times,
Hmm.
and I'm glad that we were not tone deaf today.
Thank you.
You're
Muito
very welcome.
obrigado.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, let's see who's next. Who is next? Bum, 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 bum. Robin Burchett.
Howdy, I'll see if I can get myself. There we
Indeed, you
are.
can. How
I'm
you doing, buddy?
uh today I'm good. About the last 6 weeks I've let the stress turn into strain, and I found after it sort of slipped out of my grasp to be able to like center myself, then I lost sort of all my tools for a while. And for like 3 or 4 weeks I wasn't uh wasn't doing the basic things to get myself centered, and it took a while to get. I could do that on a few days, and every time I did, I'm like, okay, I got this. I am in charge of my life. I am not spinning out of control. But on the days that I would just get up and be like, oh, I've got to deal with problems, it was it was rough. And even when I would go through like the morning ritual stuff, it was funny because I would feel like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I'm not able to, like, I don't have any gratitude today. I'm faking it. But it still got me closer to being like, oh, this is gonna work out. I can move through
So
this.
let me ask you a
So
question.
yeah.
If I stuck your head in a bucket of water, and then after 90 seconds I let you come up, would you be grateful for that breath of air?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes, most
So
definitely.
so you can get in touch with gratitude simply by slowing your breathing down until your body asks for more air. This is one of the reasons that breathing being both voluntary and autonomic, it is the doorway between the conscious and the unconscious mind. And it is one of the reasons why every profound discipline on the planet manages your breathing. Okay? So when we're up in our heads, it can be difficult to remember the meaning of life. I have nothing to be grateful. But when you are dealing with the body, the body's needs, it's easier to, what's the meaning of life? To breathe, to live. Your
Right.
body understands that. And so your body will be grateful for that life or that evading the predator or whatever it is. Whereas the mind is trapped in these big questions, complicated questions. Why are those people over there doing this? Why is this
Right.
happening over there? It's all about the world encourages you to not pay attention to yourself. And in truth, the highest level of performance comes when you are not conscious of yourself. But in between the highest level of performance and giving yourself away to the world, you have to forget yourself from the center. In other words, if I look out, if I don't have a mirror and I'm looking out and I can't see my hands, I can't see my hair, I'm seeing the world, but I'm centered in myself, seeing the world. What the world will encourage you to do is to center yourself outside yourself. It's they are important, not me. It is important, not here. Then was important, not now. To center yourself every morning in your breathing, for instance, is to anchor yourself in what you can actually affect. What is here? What is now? Who is you? The only alternative that's as good is remembering what you love. You can start with the fact that you're alive, or you can start with the fact that you love, but do not start with what there is to do in the world. Okay? That is, anytime you do that, you're automatically lost. Then you can say, okay, I'm lost again. It will take me time to integrate. Let's see how long it takes. The instant you realize you're not your emotions, that you are experiencing your emotions, you've already begun your reintegrative process. The instant you get that perspective, you're already on the right track. So you can win not by being in the right place, but by noticing that you're in the wrong place and saying, well, let's see how long it takes me to reintegrate. And oftentimes you can say, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour to think poor little me. Or I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to think poor little me. Or I'll give myself a day to think poor little me. But is the instant you do that, you'll laugh at yourself. You'll gain a sense of humor because you know that eventually you will come out of it. So it's just a matter, okay, how long am I willing to stay in this space? And eventually you'll kind of, all right, I'll be happy.
If I have to.
Yeah, that's right. And it's by giving up suffering. Suffering is worrying about what is there instead of here, what it was then instead of now. What is them instead of me. Because you're trying to control the things that you cannot control, and you've given up the only thing you can control, which is you now here. Just realizing it is more than most people do. Is more than the vast majority of people do because they haven't been told that it's okay for them to center themselves in their lives. Because we're in a society and we have to care about each other, and it's valid for us to care about each other. But that can get toxic too, especially in times when the society is having problems. Then to put society before yourself is asking to be poisoned because you're concerned about things other people are doing without any power to be able to control it.
Right.
Those are the times when paradoxically, the more control, the more influence you want to have on the outside world, the more critical it is to concern yourself with you. Because what everybody's looking for is, do I need to panic? Do I need to run? Is Godzilla coming? Or is it, no, let's be quiet. There are issues. Deal with what you have to work with and help your neighbors. If everybody dealt with what they had to work with and helped their neighbors, it would be a great world. Just the people on either side of you. And encourage
Yeah.
them to help the people on either side of them. And on and on and on. Breathe. This is why I remind people to breathe every day, because I have to remind myself. Wake up in the morning. There are all these impressions, the things that need to be done, but I try not to even open my eyes until I found my breath and connect with the fact that it's a blessing to be alive. That in a minute I'm going to be able to roll over and get out of bed. And when I was in the hospital, I would have given anything just to be able to roll up and get out of bed. So I will not forget how critical that is, because if I ever forget that, I get swept up in the world and I become part of the problem. Because the problem in the world is everybody trying to take care of what is not their business to take care of and neglecting the things that are their business. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. And that was exactly some of what I was doing, trying to control things outside of what I could control while neglecting, the
That's
most
right. Your
fundamental
emotions are
stuff.
not based on what happens in the world. They're based on how you react to what happens in the world. So take a breath and pause and ask, is this mine or not? Is this here or not? Is this now or not? After you're sure of those things, take your action. Okay. Pause, take your action. Or become the kind of person who will spontaneously do what you'd do if you thought about it for a month. That's the master. Like martial arts, something happens, they don't think, they reacted. And they
Right.
reacted perfectly because they trained themselves for that. Premeditatio malorum in the Stoic sense. So your task is to be the best Robin you can be. My sense of you is that you're a good man, genuinely caring, of genuine intelligence, and genuinely care about the integrity of the actions you take. To that degree, when you can display that in the world, when you are calm when other people panic, when you concern yourself with what is yours as opposed to theirs, you inspire the people around you. You are telling them how to solve the world. We solve the world by taking care of ourselves and then taking care of our neighbors to either side. Okay, buddy?
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Take care of yourself, Robin. I'll talk to you another time.
Thanks.
All right. So, who's next? Who is next? Or what would you like to talk about? What would you like us to expand on? You have us here for the next 15 minutes. We'll be here for another 15 minutes. What can we do for you? Avalon. Avalon Jaka, would you please come on?
I knew you were going to pick on me. Hi,
Absolutely.
Steven.
Because Avalon did a very good thing. She called me on my bullshit. I
That was a big, brave thing for me, Stephen, and I appreciate you being receptive because it positively reinforced that.
What
So,
bullshit was this?
Oh, it's, you know what it is. I tend to hear
Oh,
something and want to interject about it immediately. Rather, and what Avalon needed was the same thing that another one of our people did, which was to fully express the thought.
mm,
That
mm-hmm.
the process of reintegration was not getting advice, it was being heard.
Yeah.
That by not letting her feel like she was being heard completely, I actually negatively impacted the situation.
Say no more.
Yeah, Tananarive knows what I am. So let's put you up there and say, what can we learn from this, Evelyn?
Um, I think, I mean, initially, I've always really struggled with confrontation, just because of that negative feeling of like, oh, what if this makes the situation worse? And I like this reinforced that communication makes it better, you know? I had to think about it because at first it kind of really took me aback and like just made me feel a little bit shocked, and I had to kind of ruminate on it of like what I was feeling and what my reactions were. So it took me a couple days to reach out, but it was, and it also gave me an opportunity to kind of journal on what my feelings were, because that's not something I love to do. I'm not a journaler by any means. People are always really shocked by that when they hear that I'm a writer. They're like, "Oh, you must love journaling." I'm like, "No, I really don't. I'd rather write the fun fantasy stuff than writing about my internal emotions, but I do know that it is something that is really valuable, and I do want to focus in on that more for myself because I want to be able to have quicker reactions to people. Sometimes someone will say something to me, I'm like, I have to go think about that for a while because that threw me off, and I want to get to a point where I can feel like I'm in the moment still without being derailed by my emotions, um and so I just think it was a really great learning experience for me in that
So
moment as well.
let me look at that from a couple points of view. The only thing you said that I would like you to look at is you said it made me feel such and such a way. There was no direct connection between what I did and how you felt. You looked at what I did and you interpreted it in a way to feel negative about it. However, I can only say that because I've taken responsibility for what I did. That my intent was never to have someone feel unheard or that this was not a safe space for them to be who they are. If you can't feel it's a safe space for you to be who you are, how can you look at your own reactions? You'll defend your reactions rather than looking at them. And you react rather than respond. I made that mistake. I reacted rather than responded because I saw a problem and thought to myself, what's needed here is for me to fix it. How male was that? I mean, seriously, that there's two sides of this. Let's get our wrenches and fix this. And then there is baby is crying. I don't understand why, but if mommy holds baby, baby will feel loved. So the fear will go away, the pain will diminish, and then maybe we'll be able to fix that tooth. That there is both the what is simple enough to fix, and then there is what is large enough, cosmic enough that all we can be is witness it together. And it's the terrible and wonderful nature of human life that we are witnessing together. And if I feel like I have some insight into a piece of that, I can't mistake the piece that I have clarity for the overall aspect of the majesty of what's going on. That the human heart is not to be understood. It's not to be fixed. That if I can provide a safe enough space and offer some concepts, you will choose from those concepts the things that you need because your soul knows what it needs to evolve. If I trust your process, then all I really need to do is witness and reflect it and let you know that I care. And
And
I
I will say, sorry, not I didn't
no no
mean
no
to,
no
I
go
am
ahead.
interrupting you now.
No, but this is what people do. But I did it inappropriately. You're doing it appropriately. There's a difference. Go ahead.
I will say that, in that moment, I mean, 2 years ago, it would have probably totally derailed me for days. But instead, what I did was I was like, all right, look at your process. Where have you been resubmitting any stories recently besides the one that is in my rotation that I just really want published. So I keep sending that out, but I was like, have you done that recently? No. Okay, let's find a publication that's open right now that you have one that fits for that. And I sent it out that day. And then I went and I added more to my list. And, I used that as a moment of like, okay, you can sit here and feel sorry for yourself, or you can go do something. You felt humbled because you felt like you were behind other people. Go make it your next step so that you
Now,
can reach where other people are. And also reminding
the truth
myself to not
is,
compare myself
Avalon, the
either.
truth is that you're one of the best people in the group.
Thanks, Ben. You
You're
don't
one of
need
the,
to
that's
tell me
that
that.
is that's the mistake I made. That, that,
No,
that
that's absolutely true.
I saw who you are in that sense, but I I I didn't look at everything going on. If I was to say what is there for me to learn that isn't about the mistake I made, it's that a person who's as good as you are, who is not publishing regularly, is blocked emotionally. That if I look at that directly, the block will protect itself with fear. It will also protect itself by disengaging from the challenge. If we did not have rapport based over years of interaction, you might very well have said, Steve's an asshole, and blocked me off because that's how you'd protect yourself. See, because if you keep listening to me, you're going to be a published writer. You're going to be out there. You don't have any option. It's like I tell my son, you're doomed to succeed if you stay on that path. You don't have to stay on that path. There are other paths to succeed, maybe better paths, but I'm sure of this one. But what I cannot do is believe I constantly have the right to say whatever I see. I need to ask if I have that permission. It's
Yeah.
implicit in being in the group. But when it comes to digging into people in that way, what I should have done was waited for you to finish and then asked if I had permission to tell you what I see. That gives you the agency. Okay. So what you're helping me do is refine my process. How do I help people? As you can tell, I'm one of these people who is desperately trying to help people. I took a bodhisattva vow. I have that obligation. So you're helping me learn how to do it, and I appreciate that. Three deep bows, sweetheart. Thank you for the reflection.
You as well. I have to say to anyone else who does feel like they're struggling, I mean, it it is a long road, but it is so worth the process because I know that I've changed already so much in less than the 2 years since I've started here, just in how I process things, and how I actually stick with things. I have always kind of been ADD where I'll take I'm not diagnosed, but like it's very obvious if you see my work process, and I'll try to really challenge myself, take a big bite out of things, and it gets overwhelming, and then I abandon it. And I have been able to, when I get to those overwhelming projects, I take a step back and I go to one that I know is not going to overwhelm me. And then when I return to that other project, you've already said today, you feel refreshed when you come back to it. So it has really reinforced me sticking with the path. And I really do believe that that acceptance email, that first one, is going to hit the inbox any day now. I just know it. So
It
I'm
will, and
grateful for this process.
you're going to be a hell of a teacher.
I hope
When
so.
oh no, when you make it, when you've made it, think about all the writers that are just like you, who know that they have something in their heart. They're smart enough to know they have something in their head, but somehow the actions, it's like, what's going on? I can't, maybe they just have it natural. Whatever it is, when you have overcome that, you will understand that problem in the way that people who have not had to overcome that never will. There's a whole tribe of people that you'll be able to help. And I am honored to be walking at the side of a writer who's going to be as fine a writer as you're going to be, and a teacher who's going to be as impactful a teacher as you're going to be. You're a very interesting woman. I
Thank
mean
you.
that in the absolute best way possible. I know that if we were face to face, we would be having a great conversation, and we would talk until the sun came up, and we will have those moments at some point. But right now, I wanted to thank you for helping me on my path.
Thank you. I am just grateful. I'm honored to learn from you and Tananarive. It's so refreshing to be on a casual level and learn from you in such a comfortable, safe environment. Like it's just hard to find places like this. And even, in Denver, most of the writing groups you have to pay for every event that they go to. And so I'm just grateful that you have this space for people
Fantastic.
of all levels. All
Yeah, we love making money, but we don't
levels.
necessarily need to make it from writers who are giving everything they have and just don't happen to have money. If you give everything you have, I want to teach you. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for people who have money but won't give us their heart. Tananarive, we're coming close to the end. I would love it if you would get into this discussion.
Well, yes, we love you, Avalon, and thank you. I don't even remember when this happened. So was I even here? But anyway, you're doing the
Oh,
Lord's.
I reached out to Steve directly. That was also another thing. I was like, I could bring this up in Lifewriting. I could bring it up in group. And I was just like, no, I'll just go to Steve directly. Like that was, I think, a big step for me as well, was feeling
Good for
that.
you. Oh, that is fantastic. I'm really actually proud of you for doing
Yeah,
that.
you did exactly the right thing, Avalon. I mean, I couldn't
Absolutely.
have more respect for what you did.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and especially given that it is such a precious space. And I really even appreciated it when, who was it? I think it was Kevin Brockenborough the last time we met. We're talking about the life writing workshop, where we actually workshop stories from people who have bought one of our master courses. And one of the women who had written the story was absent, and we were going to go plow ahead with the workshop. And Kevin said, that happened to me once when I was in a workshop, and it was really hurtful, and I'm still mad about it. So I think we should wait. And he was absolutely right. So we welcome the input from the workshop members. And it's like we tell people, we are not meant to be like Moses carved into stone. We are two voices among many. And often, some of the best feedback comes from peers. So, yeah, thank you again for that, Avalon. And Steve, I guess, we're getting about, like you said, it's close to that time. Whoops, what happened? I'm going to, yeah, there we go. So let me put Steve up. So, yeah, everybody, thank you for coming. Those of you who come all the time, and those of you who don't come that often, but we're glad to see
I'd
you.
also like to say that a lot of this is based on the Warrior Walk program, which grounds this philosophy in the physical. When you're worried about the media being corrupted and people lying about everything, get in touch with what is true. What's true is that your body wants the next breath. That's true. That's the truth. Okay. And once you have a truth, it can spread out to the rest of your lives. The Warrior Walk program is the very best program I've ever created for total body mind development. It's available at www.warrior-walk.com. And if you want a copy and you know that you'd use a copy, but you can't afford a copy, let us know and we'll give you one for free. So we're going to get into our weekend now. So I'm going to say, everybody go out there and tonight, what do you want?
Make yourself the hero or heroine of your own story.
The hero and the adventure of your lifetime.
All
Unmute yourselves.
right.
Everybody say goodbye.
Bye,
Thanks for
everybody.
an awesome session,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye,
Happy
everyone.
Bye.
Great
Everybody, have
week.
a great weekend.
Happy
Happy
Father's
Thank you
Day.
so
Tuesday
very
to those who
much.
Take
celebrate.
care. And happy Father's Day to all the dads and the
Happy
people who
Father's Day.
bring
Happy
good dad
GP.
energy into
Absolutely.
the world. All right.
Absolutely. Bye bye.